If successfully pleaded, the effect of the partial defences of loss of control and diminished responsibility on murder is to reduce the charge of murder to manslaughter. What follows is a brief run-through of the statutory basis for the partial defences of diminished responsibility and loss of control. The Coroners and Justice Act 2009 is a very important piece of legislation as regards partial defences to murder. It amends the Homicide Act 1957 and also provides for the new defence of loss of control, repealing the old law on provocation. Section 52 of the Coroners and Justice Act 2009 amended Section 2 subsection 1 of the Homicide Act 1957 by adding the following. A person, D, who kills or is party to the killing of another is not to be convicted of murder if D was suffering from an abnormality of mental functioning which A, arose from a recognised medical condition, B, substantially impaired D's ability to do one or more of the things mentioned in subsection 1A, and C, provides an explanation for D's acts and omissions in doing or being party to the killing. Section 2, subsection 1, abnormality of mental functioning. Section 2, subsection 1A, which arose from a recognised medical condition. And Section 2, subsection 1B, substantially impaired D's ability to A, understand the nature of his or her conduct, B, form a rational judgment, and C, exercise self-control. Section 2, subsection 11C also lays down the requirement that the abnormality of mental functioning must provide an explanation for D's conduct. Section 54. Section 54 of the Coroners and Justice Act introduced the new partial defence of loss of control, which replaced the old defence of provocation. Section 54, subsection 1, where a person, D, kills or is party to the killing of another, V, D is not to be convicted of murder if D's acts and omissions in doing or being a party to the killing resulted from D's loss of self-control. Section 54, subsection 1b, the loss of self-control had a qualifying trigger, and C, a person of D's sex and age with a normal degree of tolerance and self-restraint, and in the circumstances of D, might have reacted in the same or a similar way to D. Section 54, subsection 2. For the purposes of subsection 1a, it does not matter whether or not the loss of control was sudden. Section 54, subsection 3. In subsection 1c, the reference to the circumstances of D is a reference to all of D's circumstances other than those whose only relevance to D's conduct is that they bear on D's general capacity for tolerance and self-restraint. Section 54 for subsection 1 does not apply if in doing or being party to the killing, D acted in a considered desire for revenge. Section 54, subsection 5, on a charge of murder, if sufficient evidence is adduced to raise an issue with respect to the defence under subsection 1, the jury must assume that the defence is satisfied unless the prosecution proves beyond reasonable doubt that it is not. Section 55, meaning of qualifying trigger. Section 55, subsection 3. This subsection applies if D's loss of self-control was attributable to D's fear of serious violence from V against D, or another identified person. Section 55, subsection 4. This subsection applies if D's loss of self-control was attributable to things done or said, or both, which A, constituted circumstances of an extremely grave character, and B, caused D to have a justifiable sense of being seriously wronged. Section 55.5. This subsection applies if D's loss of control was attributable to a combination of matters mentioned in subsections 3 and 4. Section 55, subsection 6. In determining whether a loss of self-control had a qualifying trigger, A, D's fear of serious violence is to be disregarded to the extent that it was caused by a thing which D incited to be done or said for the purpose of providing an excuse to use violence. And B, A sense of being seriously wronged by a thing done or said is not justifiable if D incited the thing to be done or said for the purpose of providing an excuse to use violence. C. The fact that a thing done or said constituted sexual infidelity is to be disregarded. Self-control.